Hi, I'm Lynne Nash from the Matt Cardle Appreciation Group, and once again we've been afforded some of Matt's time for an interview. Nice to see you again, Matt.
And you. Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm really good.
Yeah.
I'm really good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm fine too.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, again, over 18 months since we last spoke to you.
I know, yeah.
Again, so much has happened. You
I
had
know.
a top 20 single, a top 20 album, top 10 in the indie charts,
Yeah.
and of course the highly acclaimed Porcelain Tour. Lots of exciting stuff.
Yeah.
That Porcelain Tour must seem an absolute age ago now.
Yeah, it does.
Is there any
It does.
standout memories from your time on the road?
To be honest, there are loads. There are, one. Well, we did it on a tour bus this time, which was different.
Yeah.
Still the same band. We had Richard Lobb instead of Remy. Sorry about the builders outside. And do you know what? It like, this is going to be a long-winded answer, but just on the subject of Richard Lobb, he is so talented. We're in the middle of London. People are doing naughty things, that's why it's good. He's so talented, and he's not only an amazing guitarist, pianist, drummer, songwriter, obviously Lost and Found.
Lost and Found, yeah.
And he's an amazing singer, an incredible singer. I felt bad asking him to come on tour with me and play bass. It's like, but he was so up for it, and he just fitted in. So he's just one of us.
Yeah.
He's one of us. I mean, he's been around, just as long as I have. At High Barn, and I remember coming to see his shows and stuff. Yeah, amazing. So it was amazing to have Richard with us. Is what I'm trying to get across. Although I felt guilty asking him. Yes, the tour bus was so fun. I remember Dublin was an amazing show. I remember having Mel come along, it was incredible. Just how cool she is and how great, the reaction was, and just how honoured I felt to have her on stage with me. Shepherd's Bush Empire, just again,
Roof off.
yeah, like Hammersmith Apollo, the same thing. As soon as I heard the crowd outside, I was like, wow. Just started smiling. Walked down stage and didn't drop a smile until the end. A few days after the end to get there. It was just great to again, the Fire was different. There wasn't a tour for it. We did an acoustic tour. It was hard to pick the songs for the Porcelain Tour because we had 3 albums, and I know what it's like. It's for the hardcore fans, I'm sure I could have just played the Porcelain album in its entirety with a couple of extra tracks. Would have been fun, but everybody wants to hear a bit of everything, so it was difficult.
To hear their favourites.
Exactly, yeah. But we had 3 out. We could cherry pick,
Yeah, so you've been very brave and very open about your stint in rehab. But you're in a business that makes it very hard for people to stay clean and serene. So how are you managing to navigate the temptations as time goes by? Is it getting easier?
Yeah, it is. To start with, it was very strange coming out of there, back into reality, and kind of off the leash in a way, because I didn't have. They didn't lock me in the Priory. They don't lock anyone in. You can leave whenever you want. You know you're there. You know you're getting better. You know you're healing yourself, and you're on the road to being in recovery. But there's a sense of people are watching over me. People are looking out for me there, and then you get let out, and you're like, no one's stopping me doing anything now, and it's a bit of a strange place to be in. I said to someone not that long ago, it's one of those things. I know how bad things got. Rock bottom was horrible, and I don't want to go back there. And I know what to and what not to do, and I think I'm sensible enough to know that now. And also, I'm in such a good place. I wouldn't want to jeopardise any of it. I feel good. I feel better than I ever have, and things are going better than they've gone for such a long time, and I just, I owe that all, not all to recovery, but recovery has a lot to do with it.
Do you think there are any life lessons from that time that will always stay with you?
I mean, I learned so much about myself and about people in rehab, and you know, just, I mean, it's absolutely endless, the lessons I learned in there, and priceless as well. And it's one of those things, it's strange to say I'm glad it happened, I'm glad I went through it, because, you know, I know, you know, I'm an addict, and that's how I will live the rest of my life, and I will always be in recovery, and it's one of those things. It's like, it's good to know. I'm glad I know that at 32, you know, or I knew it at 31, rather than being, you know, a world of crap for years and not finding out until, you know, I was a lot older, and you know, I can use that information wisely.
Life experience again.
Exactly. And I'm glad all that crap went beforehand, you know, because I can talk about that from experience now, you know, about all sorts of naughtiness and some fun and a lot of, you know, a lot of horrible dark stuff, but, you know, I'm glad I've got it to colour my life and colour my albums and just be a rounder, deeper person because of it, I think.
So obviously now come through that, having a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're now in Memphis Musical, that's the big thing so far this year. You going into this show and taking the lead role in such a major show has really surprised a lot of people, but the feedback that has been absolutely incredible. Mm. Has it surprised you how well you've taken to the theatre world?
Yes, and it's especially surprised me how nice the reviews have been, because I genuinely feel, with coming from X Factor, you know, to get 1 star you have to make up a -star first, you know, and people inherently don't really want to say nice things about people that come from X Factor, especially in the musical theatre world. It's like, it's, you know, that opening night was, you know, impress me if you dare, come on, you know, and it was terrifying. It was absolutely terrifying. But you know, I had great support in the company, and all the cast, everybody in this building has been absolutely incredible, and I couldn't have done it without that. Beverly especially been amazing, from the word go, Tara, everyone just had such great support, and it's a gift of a role. And you know, it's one of those things, it's like, if you can get it right, you don't have to do much more than get the role right. It's not an easy thing to do, but
well, it's not an easy thing to do, but you make it look effortless as always. What's your favourite part of the show?
My favourite part of the show has to be, my favourite scene is, it's called Kiss. It's when I come into into Del Rey's, telling Felicia and getting on the radio, and I just love the way it comes out of Scratch My Itch, the second scene, and the song comes in, you're a dog, and Beverly's just letting rip, and then it's just the way they blend the song with the dialogue. It's like, you know, she's ripping and then bam, and I'm like, hey, hey, but the music's still going, you know, the drummer's still just sat on a beat and the bass player's just there plodding away, and I come and do my little thing and come down the stairs. It's just like, how can you tell what a man's lying? How he opens his mouth, and then it's great choreography across the stage. You know, the song kicks back in, and then again, me and the Gator have a bit of dialogue, and then, you know, it gets a bit serious, then it's a joke, and then I start talking to Del Rey, you know, and then scream about the radio, and then it's back into the song again, and I get thrown off the stage, suddenly back, the song stops again, and then we finish the song together. I mean, it's so well written, and it's so slick, that scene.
Yeah. It must be really enjoyable.
Oh yeah, I just get to goof around as well.
There's a goofing around, and when you're doing performance night after night, things probably don't always go absolutely perfectly.
Oh, no.
What's the funniest thing that's happened so far?
Ooh. The funniest thing, I'm going to find it for you. So basically, the funniest thing, okay, there's been a couple of funny things. One was, the funniest was, after I've been in it a month, the guys, i.e. the cast, think it's right and relevant that they should corpse me for a matinee and an evening show on Saturday. So it all tied in together rather well that for some unknown reason all the Beale Street girls, all the black girls were off, apart from one or two. So Del Rey's was just full of guys, looked like a gay bar. That's what we were saying in warm up. It's like Del Rey's is going to look like a gay club because it's just men. And I come in and it's just Felicia and one other girl. So it was then Del Gays is the name of the bar. And the big joke was that basically every bloke in the show is gay under the surface and wants a bit of Huey, and the looks I was getting and from everyone, and oh my god, when I shook Del Rey's hand, he's like, "This is my club, and if you don't," and he's got my hand like that, and then he does this, and oh my god, I died 1,000 deaths on stage, trying not to laugh. And Roland is hilarious, and he does camp so well and so subtly, and like literally every time he was on stage he was like eyeing me up, and this is the thought of this huge butch black guy who just really wants to have a piece of me, and I'm just like, oh my god, this little white guy. It was just hilarious. So I was constantly trying to angle his head behind someone else's head so I couldn't see his eyes. But once Simon was very tired, he did 2 shows, and on the matinee show he said this. He was covering for Del Rey. Where is it? It will be. So he was covering for Del Rey, and the line he's supposed to say is, "Do you notice anything different between you and everybody else in here, sir?" Which I'm sure you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is what came out of his mouth.
I mean, you notice anything different between you and the bassinet, buddy?
And that was like, on stage, one more time.
I mean, you notice anything different between you and the bassinet, buddy?
Bassinet,
And he said that to me, and I looked at him, and I was at hair's breadth of just going, "Sorry, what?" in an English accent. What? And I realised that he'd fluffed the line right to, and I was like, oh. And then I looked around, I was like, "No" was my next line, so I just looked around, tried to look upstage and contain it. I was like, "Nope." And then when Beverly came over, he kind of took a step back and was like, that was kind of funny. I mean, I fell down the stairs coming into that scene that we were talking about last night. Just overconfidence. I think it was some sweat on the steps or something from someone. I just slipped on it. But also last night, Wade was on for Gator, and I went, "You know what that sound means? It's time for the Gator dance." And then there was no one there. I was like, where is he? I mean, every night something happens, but those are specifically hilarious.
They stand out.
Yeah, a long way.
Just getting back to kind of like the singing side of things. In the past, you've had so much control over your own projects. Has it been difficult taking direction and performing to somebody else's kind of standard rather than doing it how you would do it?
Do you know what? The reason that it hasn't is because I'm singing so differently and I don't feel like me. If it was be yourself, be Matt Cardle on that stage, but do it like this, I'd have a problem with it. I'd be like, Matt Cardle doesn't do it like that. But I'm Huey Calhoun, you know, and I'm in the musical theatre world, and it's, you know, it's that when people say, and people can be slightly offended by this, if you say, "Oh, you know, she's got a great voice," very musical theatre, but a great voice. Basically, if you ask my personal opinion, musical theatre is just means you're using the best technique you can, which doesn't necessarily, is not conducive to having an interesting, personal kind of characterful voice, you know? It's very much, this is you at your safest, and that's how I sing in the show, you know? as you must have noticed in some songs, I don't sing like that on a record at all. No. You know, it's funny.
You said in the previous interview actually that you had to clean up your voice.
Oh, totally.
What does cleaning up your voice actually mean?
Taking all the air out, basically. Like, it's the difference between jumping on the piano and me being like, when I was a young boy, it's full of air. It's like, when I was a young boy, that's suddenly loud, and that's, you know, I'm not being louder, it's just you're restricting the amount of air that's escaping, so the vocal cords are
vibrating.
Yeah.
Faster.
And closer together, and it's just basically being efficient with the air, so you can, that when you take a breath in, you can do, hello, my name is Yui, so I know this much as Yui, so I know another kind of me, do people great. If I tried to do that on on my album, it would just, I'd run out of air.
Yeah.
It's weird, and it just tires you out, and there's a difference between Dido and Beverly Knight, you know.
Yeah.
And it's just all air.
There's obviously, you know, things you're learning in doing this show. What effect, if any, do you think your experience in Memphis might have on your own performances in your own shows and gigs?
You know what, a couple of fans have noticed a difference before I even got on the stage. You know, before I was doing some corporate gigs and they came to see and they noticed a difference. It's just, I don't worry about what to do with my hands now. You know, it's before I was lost. Remember Brian Friedman said to me on X Factor, he's like, lose the chicken wing. Like, you've got a chicken wing, like, you constantly hand on your, like, it's like, drop it, what are you doing? And I was like, I don't know, I'm supposed to be on the neck of a guitar and I don't have it. And whenever I didn't have my guitar, I was a bit lost as to do what to do with my hands. Now, like, I'll stand on stage and, I mean, not that I'm going to be giving it all this and that, because I don't do that in Memphis, you know.
Just more relaxed.
It's just more relaxed,
yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And more strength in your voice, because I think when we heard the you sing at West End Live, the thing everybody was saying is your voice sounded so strong. So do you think it's kind of going to improve your vocal stamina, the techniques that you learn?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, one thing I'm a little bit conscious of is I don't want to lose me when I come back to the album. You know, I'm going to have to let myself sing with a bit of crap technique again for the sake of being myself. But I think there's also so much that I can take from this in a positive way and use on the album and in live performance and stuff. And there's some of the stuff I should have been doing for years, but I'm like, oh yeah, why? Just breathing, for God's sake. I do it every day to keep myself alive, and then it comes to singing, I just forget about it. It's like, actually, no, I need air. So that's one thing.
Confidence and stage presence, do you think that will improve?
Oh,
not that there was anything wrong with it before, but...
You know, I certainly won't be bounding on stage with any kind of overconfidence or arrogance like Huey does at times, but I think you may see a more relaxed person walking onto stage. You know, I think now, I mean, even thinking about walking onto stage and not being in character, I'd feel a lot easier about it, you know, waving, picking up my guitar, and even looking down at the crowd and being like, hey, you know, like just accepting what's going on rather than, which was me, and it's still me, but I would be like, okay, a little bit more confident, relaxed.
So as exciting as Memphis has been, and successful as it's been, we can't let you go without talking to you about album 4, which everybody's starting to get excited about. After the last tour, I think actually when we did our last interview, you said you had to go out and get some more life experiences, and you took a break after the last tour and did a bit of travelling. Has that influenced your approach to the album or the writing on the album at all?
You know, it has. I think I spent, you know, almost a year reflecting on all 3 albums. Excuse me. And what that's done is it's really, you know, people always look at the negative. And I always looked at where I went wrong on Letters, The Fire and Porcelain. And again, like, deep down, on every album, I kind of knew what I wanted, but I didn't quite know how to get it, and that was frustrating. And the songs were coming out, and in a songwriting sense, yeah, but more in a production sense, how it sounded, what instruments I was using, the way I wanted it to come across, as well, the kind of the language I was using, how airy-fairy I wanted to be or not wanted to be, And I think with album 4, I think I know now how to get what I want more, and I know where my weaknesses are and my strengths are with regards to production, and how taking the reins doesn't necessarily mean that the horse is going to go in the direction I want it to, because other people know better than me a lot of stuff. I don't know best with everything, especially with production. So I've kind of let people do their thing, and it's really, really worked. It's been a great partnership with everybody I've written with and produced. It's like, and we've also been working with people whose production I like, as well as songwriting. So it's, and it also took me 3 hours to realise that it doesn't have to come through an amplifier, it doesn't have to be a Telecaster, it doesn't have to be a Vox, real drums, real bass. Cool is not real necessarily, Cool is cool, and what is cool? No one fucking knows. No one really cares.
It's all subjective.
It's all subjective. I mean, some people think this is cool, some people think that's the least cool thing on the planet, but I just think that it's all about, I'm not constricted by, but who's going to play that live and who's going to do that, and Remy can't make that. It's like, let's just make it sound amazing and indulge the fans and myself in something that they haven't heard before. Also, like, I was developing slowly over 3 albums, but I think it's time for something that's like, whoa, we were not expecting that, but brilliant. It's not going to be like, oh, really? Like, oh shit, it's going to be a case of, it's still very me, very singer-songwriter, but just very different.
Yeah, I mean, in some of the performances you were doing before you came into the show, you were giving us a taste of some of that, and people really loving some of the dance vibe that's in it, this kind of thing. And you took it kind of like into this electronic sound. Was that a conscious designed decision, or did you surprise yourself that it went that way?
No, it was a conscious decision. Myself and Nate, we just sat down, and I had one track that no one's heard yet, weirdly called Blue. Everyone's heard Blue.
One Blue. Yeah.
This was another one. It was a dance song. I did it with a guy called I wrote the song with a guy called Daniel Lindegren, not long before I was in the Priory, and then when I came out, KG, the guy that's around the corner from me, produced most of the All Saints stuff. I mean, he's and amongst a million and one other things. Did a lot with Jamie Cohen as well. He's amazing, and we made this dance track, and I was like, Nate, I mean, this is actually really great. And then he was like, why don't we go in this direction, take it more electro, And for weeks and weeks, all we had was this one dance thing, and I was saying to people, we're going in a new direction. I was like, that's not a new direction, that's a dance song. And it wasn't until I got together with a guy called Aaron Horn, Trevor Horn's son, and I wrote a song called Human Nature. And that came later on. Went to see Ian Bartow, and we wrote a song called Higher Power.
Yeah.
And I was like, hold on a minute, that is a sound that I think is cool, current, and I rate that. It's very different, and that's a kind of new direction. And from that spawned the whole album. Really, Higher Power. That's where it came from.
So, have you got a favourite song on the album yet?
Human Nature is one of my favourite songs in the album. No one's heard it yet, but it's the kind of lately of this new album. It's great.
I've got to ask, are we ever going to get to hear the end?
Well, it's funny you should say that, because I actually have a little clip. Have you never heard anything of the end, have you?
No, we've seen you.
Nathan's just going to tee it up. This was written for, and it's so strange because this was written for the second album, Never Made It Onto the Fire, never made it onto Porcelain as much as I tried. And weirdly, the opening lyrics are so apt for the new album, it's uncanny, so it's going to go on the new album. But we'll play you a little bit. I mean, turn the sound so you can hear it.
Overall, the drilling.
This was the end, but rock bottom never felt so soft. I told myself it's only up from here, so let me go.
Made a lot of people very happy playing that.
Do you know, I wrote that with the lovely sweetheart that is Dave Snedden.
Dave Snedden?
Yeah, for the Fire.
Yeah.
And yeah, for some reason it just I never got it together. I tried for Porcelain, we actually got it so close. Right, so my school music teacher, Adrian Marvel.
Yeah, you went down to St Mary's with the big church organ. And
I mean, it's all there, ready to go. I mean, that's the original demo. I mean, it sounds. I mean,
different.
Tom Peters has got the all stuff on his hard drive. I mean, if he hasn't, I'll kill him. But I'm sure he has. But yeah, I mean, we're going to put it on there because it's just it's an awesome song. But
big track.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And with the church organ on it, I mean, it's like, oh god.
Just adds another dimension to it. So obviously, this is just the latest material from a long musical evolution. Do you have what, in your opinion, do you think is the best song you've ever written, released or not?
Do you know what? Well, and I mean, no one's heard it yet, but Human Nature is one I'm so proud of that song. There's something about it. It's that, I mean, the chorus, it's one of those things, it's like, it's just so simple, you know. It's sometimes to get something that's that, like, satisfying, you feel like you need to be going all around the houses and straining this and that one, and you don't. And lyrically and melodically, it's so simple, and it's one of those things that came. It was, and this is going to sound so arty-farty, but it popped out of the universe like most songs do, and it's like a little gift, like a little idea for this. You don't. It's weird how it comes about. You literally don't feel it coming. And I was sat there I started the track, the verse, with air and horn, and a really sweet girl called Sakana. And it was just one of those days we weren't really supposed to be in the studio. Sakana was just there. Aaron was like, we get on really well, you know, he's a friend of mine, and we sat around, and I was like, I've got this little kind of feel, and we started writing some lyrics, and it was like, the lyrics are great, it's like, we're going to know about this feel, and I was like, look, do you know what, give me the stems, I'll take it home. I'll have work on it at home. So I went home, I was like, we're looking for a chorus, and sometimes you just go to sing stuff into a microphone, and there's a French term, and it basically means yogurt lyrics, which is just like going, and you're just getting the melody across. I just turned the mic on and sang the chorus, and then, but like in one take. Wasn't thinking about what I was saying, didn't even know I was about to say words, let alone like decent lyrics, and then just sang the chorus like that, and then went stop and was like, oh, yeah. Go back to the beginning of the chorus. I was like, no, that can't be great, and then left it, went and had a couple of ciggies, sorry. Came back and I was like, you know what, I think I've actually got a really good chorus there, like, and it was one of those moments. It was just like, oh my god, where the hell did that come from? I was like, thank you, whoever handed that down to me. So that was one. Lately, again, I'm so proud of that song, and The Way to Be, I think, as well, is, I've always said that. And again, these are songs that were like gifted. I didn't work for them, they were handed to me. Literally, The Way to Be was handed to my brain while I was hoovering in my bedroom, which was like, you can imagine how rare that was. In my mum's house. I think I'd spilled something, or I'd been smoking in there and spilled the ashtray or something, and I was just hoovering, and I had that, which is the pre-chorus. And I was like, hoovering, I was like, yeah, this is cool. It's not going anywhere. I was like, still singing it, and I had that. I guess we're over. That was it. And then it had to be so I guess we're over. I said what I need to somewhere. And I was like, do you know what? I think this is worth picking up the guitar for. And I went downstairs in the kitchen, which is, I could never write songs in the kitchen, like it was in my bedroom. For some reason I picked the guitar up, I think it might have been downstairs. I went down and sit on a little breakfast stool in the kitchen and turned my phone on record, and then like, show me the way to be your way came out, and I was like, okay, that doesn't feel like a chorus, but that, I guess I'll just put that down as a chorus. And then that would turn out a little like, same 4 chords all the way through. It's standard, just kept playing them. We were burning, and literally, and then within 20 minutes, no word of a lie, in 20 minutes I had about 3 or 4 voice notes, and I was like, okay, that's the chorus, listen to it, okay, that's the pre, and I just recorded it into my phone, start to finish. Like, it went chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus with the pre, and then all that was left was a little, instrumental, and then another chorus, and I was like, I've just finished that, and I was like, I don't know if it's any good though. It came out too quick, way too quick, and I haven't been thinking. It was one of those things I was kind of like half making a bit of toast, sitting there, and then put it on my phone and connected it up to my little USB, whatever the thing to connect to the car is, and went for a drive and listened to it, and I was like, that's actually really good, really strong. And then it became a lot of people's favourite Seven Summer song, to the point where Neil was like, we've got to use that as a song for the video, and and then when I went on X Factor and people started hearing it, they were like, they fell in love with that song, and I was like, yeah, it is really good. It's a really good song.
And good songs are just that, they're good songs and they endure, and people, go back to them time and time again, because they are just plain good songs.
Yeah.
So, the album gets finished.
The album gets finished, and then, this
what for the next 12 months? Can you give us a peek into what the next year for Matt Cardle is going to be like?
Oh, do you know what, Lynn? I have no idea, because I never have any idea. I know the new album's going to be getting finished and coming out. I do love acting, and I would do some more. I would be very careful about what I do, where I do it, as I have been about this. I've been lucky to be given such an amazing role. I would do more West End, but if it's the right thing, and if it allowing me enough time to do the other things I need to do in my career musically, I'd do any, you know, any acting if it was the right thing, be it TV or film or whatever. You know, if it came along, I'd give it a crack because I do love doing it. But more importantly, just getting the new album into and being in a good place while I'm doing it. You know, it's been refreshing because when I was recording Porcelain, I was just in such a mess, and it was horrible. And I think about those songs. Unfortunately, that whole album's kind of tainted for me a little bit because I think about the studio sessions with Tom, and all I can really remember is just agonising, arguing with a certain manager I had, and beating myself up, and taking a lot of drugs, drinking a lot, not being happy or convinced by any of it, you know, knowing that originally the songs were good, but what is happening to them now, and things just being all over the place, you know, and it wasn't a nice experience, you know, whereas the fire, you know, living in a flat with half of everything gone, horrible, you know, just horrible. It wasn't exactly a nice experience either.
So this is the first one that really has been a pleasant,
well, it's come from a pleasant
an enjoyable experience.
That being said, it's come from, you know, content-wise, it's come from the Priory and recovery and rehab, but then also just a lot of learning and lessons learned and going, no, actually everything's okay. You know what? Everything's okay, and yeah, it's been a happy experience, even though again the content isn't necessarily.
So, you know, we always like to finish on a little bit of fun. So this time, imagine we're going to bury a time capsule, a Matt Cardle time capsule, to be opened by people in 100 years' time.
Okay.
So we're going to put some things that represent Matt Cardle in here. Now we've put a Taylor guitar in for you. We've put all of your CDs. You've got 3 more things you can fit in. What are you going to put in?
Oh, not a phone from my brother. What would I put in? I'd put in my skateboard. I definitely would put in my skateboard, although I haven't been able to. How cute is this? Rachel John. So she knows. She knows that I'm not allowed to skateboard. So bless the girl. She bought me this.
Little finger skateboard.
A little finger skateboard.
I haven't seen them in years.
Oh, tech deck. But no, I mean, how sweet is that? So I put my skateboard in. What else would I put in? I would put in the box set of Peep Show, just to keep that going, because I think it's. Have you seen it, Peep Show? Oh please! If you're doing anything in your spare time, if you get really bored, just get Peep Show, the series. It's just hilarious. So that, one more thing. Is this to kind of give people an impression of what I was like?
Yeah. I mean, that one's good because it shows the kind of sense of humour.
Yeah.
Or the humour that you enjoyed.
And then maybe an album of someone else's, maybe like 10 of Pearl Jam, because again I think that's one of the best albums ever made. And again, like also, but any of my favourite albums. And then just a picture of me being stupid. As a little extra.
As a little extra.
Yeah, because on the album covers I'm all like curious face and me just going. Be perfect.
Which is a face we all know so well.
I know.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. As always, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, Lynne.
And we really appreciate your time.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Do you want to give a message to the rest of the Matt Cardle Appreciation Group?
I just want to say, you know, a huge, from the bottom of my heart, a huge thank you to everyone. You know, one of the things you mentioned at the start, Lynne, was so much has happened, and you know what, I'm just so happy that so much has happened, because there's stuff, you know, for you guys to enjoy that I'm doing, which is amazing. And it would be a problem if you turned up, it's like, so not much has happened in the past 2 years, what's been going on? You know, I'm so happy, you know, for everyone involved that this is happening, and that we've got so much stuff going on. And you know, I couldn't do it without all you lot, and I mean that. And you know, the amount of times I've thought that who am I really doing this for, and it is you lot. And it's you know, when I hear that someone's listening to my music the way I listen to Pearl Jam, or the way I listen to Tool, or whatever, Rage Against the Machine, that makes it worth doing. That makes every bar of every song worth it. And so yeah, just thank you for listening.